What's up guys, welcome back to the channel, and if you're new here, welcome. So today I just wanted to share a bit about my journey, who I am, and how I got to where I am today. I was born in Bowral in New South Wales with one sister and 4 half siblings. Growing up, I always felt a bit different, which maybe was a sign of ADHD, because whenever there was like a trending TV show, I would get hyper obsessed with it, hyper fixated. Like I'd always be talking about it and people would be like, after a while people would get sick of it and be like, why are you still talking about that? We don't watch that anymore. So it always felt like I wasn't quite connecting with people. But anyways, when I turned 10, we moved from New South Wales to Perth, which is on the other side of Australia. It was a huge change, and I don't think I fully understood the ramifications of kind of leaving behind everything, like the friend group and everything I'd created in Bowral. And when I started school there, I was an outcast. I got bullied by the other kids and being the new kid, basically. High school wasn't much better. I kind of fell in with the computer geek group. And that's kind of when my parents started kind of fighting. And so I got seriously addicted to this online game called MapleStory. Like I would literally wake up and play the game from when I woke up to when I went to bed, like every day, like obviously when I wasn't at school. And it became so bad that I started missing social events, started not hanging out with my friends anymore. And this game just became my escape. Like I felt like I could be whoever I wanted to be. And then I started also getting into partying and drinking and drugs at that point in my life. And the final exams for school were coming up, and all the teachers were kind of telling us how important it is and for us to do well. Otherwise, like that whole spiel about if you don't do well, then the rest of your life isn't going to work out. I was like just so addicted to this damn game that I just wasn't putting in the work studying. And I went to my English and human bio exam, which were my 2 weakest subjects, to be honest. And I didn't do too well. I knew I wasn't getting a good mark for either of them. And maths and computing, which were my best subjects, I just didn't even turn up because I was like, there's no point. I just didn't even turn up, and all my teachers were shocked. They were like, why didn't you show up for your exams? And I just came up with some stupid excuse. Yeah, then school finished and my dad bought a pub back in New South Wales, and I kind of went with him and we moved back there in a town called Southwest Rocks. It was a small town where people had grown up with each other their entire lives. So again, I was back to being like this outcast. I found it really hard to kind of make good friends there. And that's really when my drug use started to spiral out of control. Like I was smoking weed every day, like as soon as I woke up. Before I ate lunch, like if I was working, it didn't matter. Like I was smoking all day, every day. This really put a lot of pressure on my relationship with my dad, and we were fighting a lot at that time. Like it got really bad. So things weren't too good. And I spent New Year's by myself, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I need to move back to Perth where there's like, I've got my friends and all that. So I moved back to Perth, back in with my mom, not kind of realizing that I was bringing all of my problems with me back to Perth. With the experience that I gained living with my dad, working at his pub, I got some bar jobs in Perth, which was fun, and I started doing my fitness certificates because I was getting really into my fitness at the time. And once again, I got to my final exam of my fitness course, and the night before a friend was like, oh, do you want to go out? And of course I went out and smoked and drank and didn't show up for the last exam, and then just never went back in there out of just pure shame, which was a real fucking shame because I spent thousands on this course, and then I could have gone back and resat the test, but I didn't do that. And from there, things really started to spiral for me. That's when I started getting into music festivals and going to all the music festivals and pretty much selling drugs to fund my whole lifestyle. And at first it was just selling them to my friends, and then friends of friends, and then all of a sudden I had like people selling for me. Before I knew it, I was getting raided by the police. They raided me, charged me, they found everything. And what really sucked though was a couple months after this had happened, my eldest half brother passed away. That really sucked and sent me into a real spiral of depression of like, what's the point of my life, you know? And I ended up going to prison for a year, and you know, during that time I learned a lot. I joined this acting course that just happened to be there that my friend told me about, and got into the best shape of my life because I was training like twice every day. It was crazy. I learned guitar because they had like a guitar course that you could do, and I started doing drawing every day. And after the acting course got cancelled, I found myself enrolling in a fine art degree because I kind of wanted to follow that creative path, I guess. I really fell in love with acting and expressing myself, and I thought there was something in that I wanted to continue when I got out. But then once I got out, and that's when it became really hard for me because I didn't really understand how to relate to people anymore. You know, I hadn't seen any of my friends during my time there. And I guess, once again, I just felt like I was kind of an outcast. I didn't have any place anywhere. And so I started hanging around people I met in prison. That's when I started using ice and doing things that I really shouldn't have been, that all my friends started getting caught for, like burglaries and really stupid shit, until it was just me there, and started going out on my own. And one day I had a near-death experience. I like cut open my leg on this fence, and like this cut was serious. It was massive. It was like down to the bone. And I went to the doctors and they were like, "You are so lucky to be alive still. That was a couple centimeters from your artery. Like, had it been that couple of centimeters, you would have been gone." And so that was crazy. I mean, like, even at that point in my life, I don't know, it just felt like my existence, like I didn't feel like it mattered if I lived or died at that point. You know, I ended up getting charged for that, and I was on parole at the time, so I'd broken my parole, but they gave me a second chance, and they're like, if you fuck up again, like, you're going back to jail. And I saw one of the boys that had also just gotten out from prison, and we were talking about like ex-footballers, and he was telling me like, because they'd thrown away their careers to be about this lifestyle, and he was telling me like, you got to pick one or the other. And I was like, shit. I was kind of like going to uni during the weekdays and then on the weekends going out and doing all this crazy shit. And that's when it really became apparent to me that I had to make the choice to either choose one or the other. Otherwise I was eventually going back to prison. Like, that was just, that's where that path leads. And so I started distancing myself from those friends that I'd made during prison. I got off drugs. I started prepping for a bodybuilding show, which really helped me stay focused and have a goal. I started really applying myself at uni and going to acting courses, did a couple plays. Then I had the opportunity to go to the US to study abroad in Irvine in California, which was a really cool opportunity. And I kind of planned to like do the semester there, and then once that was done, just kind of transition into living in America, because I thought like that's the place to be if I want to be an actor. So I thought, yeah, I'll just stay there and live there. But the universe had other plans. That is when the pandemic started ramping up, end of 2019. And so I kind of had this decision to make to either stick it out in the US or go back home to Australia. And in a split, like last minute decision, I decided to go back home to Australia, which I am really thankful for now looking back, because, you know, since going back, I auditioned and got accepted into one of the best acting schools in Australia for their acting diploma program. And, you know, I've graduated, finished that. I finished my fine arts bachelor degree as well, which is a real big moment. But unfortunately, that was when my sister passed away, which, you know, I thought I was on this good path and things were starting to really look good. And then I got the news that my sister had died of suicide, which that fucking broke me. And again, it felt like my world was just falling apart. It felt like there was just like no point anymore. But this was kind of towards the end of my degree, and I'm really thankful for that, because I was able to channel this kind of grief and depressed energy into my final art project and kind of like make this cool, I guess it was really pushing the boundaries, this project I made, and just channel all of my emotion into it. So yeah, that was the end of my degree, that project. And that takes me to today. So I've now moved from Perth to Brisbane. I'm in the process of launching my own videography business. I'm creating content for my YouTube, my TikTok, and my Only Burps page. You know, I have an agent here who's getting me acting auditions. And yeah, I'm still figuring things out per se, but I do feel really focused, and I do feel like every day there are things that I need to do. What I've really learned throughout all of this that's really important is just staying true to yourself, and, you know, following the things that light you up inside, being kind to yourself, because, you know, we're all doing the best that we can. Yeah, I think healing is a lifelong process. So yeah, that's my journey. Thank you very much.